It's me, 2018 Diane. Just living my life. What's that? Oh my goodness, it looks to be a police box that can take me anywhere in space and time. How convenient. Where'll I go? La 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 la. Hello, who are you? Oh hi, I'm younger Diane. Who are you? Oh, I'm older Diane in 2018. What's going on with you? Oh, I'm in college, I'm green-eyed and full of dreams and I like working out every day because I haven't discovered how wonderful alcohol is. I'm so skinny even though I eat candy all day long. Trust me, that's going to change. So, what's going on with you? Well, I've just been entered in the Miss Ireland contest. The Trump one? Yeah, he seems like a bit of a dope but a shrewd businessman. Anyway, I've been entered through the love of my life. He's not the love of your life. Oh. Okay, well, I'm excited about the contest anyway because I'm going to cause a huge scene and make a huge feminist protest. Yeah, things don't quite work out that way either. Oh?
So, yes, a long time ago I was entered in Miss Ireland's qualifiers for the Miss Universe. Now let me preface this with the fact that this was a time when Ireland's beauty contests look a bit more like this.
And now, walking. Oh. Look at them there, walking around. Look out there, Mary. Doesn't Mary have a lovely bottom?
Careful there, Ted. That might offend the girls.
Rightly. Of course, they all have lovely bottoms.
So this was a time when the idea of beauty pageants were quite alien to Ireland. We didn't know quite what they were about, but we knew enough to know we were a little bit outraged that women were being judged on what they looked like. So here was my plan. I was going to cause anarchy. I was going to try and get through the rounds as best I could and try and get onto the stage for the swimwear round. At this point my concept was that I would don as silly a costume as possible and make the whole thing look like a total farce. In my very, very young brain I knew I wanted to make some kind of statement that I was against it, but I didn't know exactly what I was trying to say. And so I began a 6-week journey involving a lot of interviews, appearances, and watching a lot of toddlers in tiaras to prepare. Big hair, fake lashes, and a lot of makeup. About 2 weeks in, I realised I was going to have to buy a lot more hair and a lot more fake tan. And I discovered a lot about the Miss Universe contest while I was blending in. Initially, there's nothing too surprising, although it's a little jarring to hear certain things in real life. For example, I overheard one girl being told to lose weight and another being told that she really needed to fix her hair before getting in front of the cameras. We were advised that under no uncertain terms, we needed to spend money to make money. Luckily, I had some tricks up my sleeve in the shape of some good friends who were excellent at hair, makeup, nails, and all that jazz. I did my eyelash gluing, back combing best, and I got through to the big finale, a pageant in a huge nightclub in Dublin. When I arrived at show rehearsals, I discovered that the entire pageant was being run and overseen by Ireland's top modelling agency. A top modelling agency at this time involved casting girls who were prepared to stand in a bikini on Grafton Street in the winter holding a packet of Tayto crisps. And fitted out with my 3 layers of fake tan, my big fake hair, and eyelashes that would make a Kardashian blush, I fit the perfect mould of their ideal model. I just had to keep my mouth shut, keep a low profile, and get through so that I could make the statement. Mama looked like a 4-year-old ultimate grand supreme. So the organisers started to show us to our marks and tell us how to walk. Now, I'd been walking a number of years at this stage, so I was very confused. We were advised to lead with our hips. I always thought you walked with your feet, but I guess I was wrong. But it turned out walking was the least of my problems. Turning around and facing the opposite direction on the catwalk was a complex and multifaceted task. At the end of the catwalk, you'd do a 1-2 step, lean forward, turn around, facing the side, look back at your audience, and swivel. Then you'd go 1, 2, 3 with your feet, turn around again, and continue to walk. And it was at this point my mask slipped a little. I felt the motion of my hand as if it were an independent entity beginning to raise. And before I knew it, the words came out of my mouth. Couldn't we just turn around and face the opposite way like normal humans? I felt a chill go up my spine as 15 heads turned to look at me as though I had 2. They stared for a full 2 seconds, the longest 2 seconds of my life. And then continued talking as if no one had spoken. But the atmosphere had changed. At this point, the organisers were watching me like a hawk. They were right to be suspicious, but I didn't want them to be. And as we moved along to learn our next complicated skill set, which involved standing on a podium, a new face emerged up the centre of the club with her mother. She was on first name terms with the pageant host and organisers, and she was promptly shown to her own dressing room. Now, I'm not calling fix. But she didn't have to rehearse, and the rest of us were crammed into a cleaning cupboard. It was an interesting vibe in the dressing room, which had such a strong aroma of biscuits, aka the smell of fake tan, that I never really enjoyed a McVitie's again. A lot of the girls were talking about the qualifiers they'd gone through to get here, other contests they'd been less successful in, how much money they'd put into it, and the diets they were on to get through. They were overwhelmingly just really sweet girls who, even to my green eyes at that time, had a kind of naive vibe to them. At a base level, these girls just wanted to do something they saw as fun, and at the more complex end, some of them were seeking some kind of cosmetic validation. Every contestant had been given a beauty duffel bag meant to contain their last minute supplies, and as I looked down at mine, knowing it contained a comedic diver's costume, I felt a sharp stab of guilt. These girls were potentially going to feel like I was taking the piss out of them. So the first round in front of the crowd came, and we went out in our dresses to introduce ourselves to the I'm sorry, I can only use quotation marks for this. Introduce ourselves to the celebrity judges. I'm not even going to say who they are because I know a lot of you guys are based outside of Ireland. You would have no idea who these people were, and that is very okay. And so the contestants were again whittled down based upon how well we said our names. I stripped off down to my swimwear and grabbed my go bag. I was tentative but also determined. I chatted about it with my friends and was very 50-50 on the whole thing. To be perfectly honest, I really didn't think I was going to get through to the swimwear round. The fact that me making this big statement was actually in front of me now as a tangible thing was insane. I got into the queue and clutched my prop bag tightly. Other girls were holding onto their heels to put on at the last minute. You know, because every girl wears 5-inch heels while donning a bikini. My heart was racing and I just didn't know if I could do it. Now, these days I would totally do it. Knowing any personal hurt would essentially be inconsequential in the long term. It really wouldn't have affected the individual girls' experiences. But don't forget, I was really young and my head was spinning. And that's when it happened. The organizer, who had been watching me like a hawk since my smart-ass question, tapped me on the shoulder. He told me to put my shoes on and put the bag away. And I replied, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it on in a minute." It. I said, it. If I was talking about shoes, I'd have said them. And he picked up on it. It. Your shoes. Yeah. Girls, can we all put our shoes on for line up and put our bags in the changing room? Now. My heart was beating out of my chest and my hands were literally shaking as I clutched the bag. I was frozen to the spot. "Do you want me to take it?" he asked. And I just said, yeah. And I was left to walk up the catwalk in my bikini. No statement, no irony, just as was. When I went backstage, my head was spinning and I felt ashamed, and suddenly I heard them call my name for interview. I had not planned on getting through to interview. By this stage, I thought I would have well been kicked out of the contest. I had nothing prepared. I remember one friend asking me what I'd do in the eventuality that I didn't get kicked out and they let me do the interview. And I remember telling her I was just probably going to give some smart-ass reply. Only now, having not gone through with the plan, there was no context for my smart-ass remark. And what I did say made me sound like a total brat. They didn't ask me about world peace and they didn't ask me my political stance. What they asked me was if I had one thing to say to the judges to endear myself to win the contest, what would it be? And I said... can't even say it without cringing. I said, "Do you take cash or checks?" And the whole audience began to boo. I would have booed if I didn't know me and what was going on. But there were some people who weren't booing. My friends who were standing in the front row themselves laughing, and didn't I catch eyes with them? And so I started laughing, which made it look even worse. And then I literally ran off the stage. I ran off of the stage. It actually still gives me anxiety when I think about it. And after that fiasco, they finished the round and announced the winner, and I came fourth. So if you can somehow manage to Google up press photos from that day, you'll see my elbow and at the edge of the podium. I'm famous, mom. And so Ireland's most prestigious modelling agency gave me a contract. They promptly put some photos up on their website with some very inaccurate stats. Apparently I'm 5'9" with a 23-inch waist and double D boobs. Even at the best of times, those were never my stats. When the photos from the pageant and the agency did come out of me posing unironically in swimwear, I honestly felt sick and ashamed. Not of my body at all, but the fact that the girl in those pictures represented the antithesis of everything I stood for. It wasn't who I was, and it wasn't what I wanted to communicate to the world about myself. And I picked up the phone and asked the agency to dissolve my contract. It was not the norm for a girl to call up and dissolve their contract, so this was not a pleasant phone call. And I'm pretty proud of young Diane Diane for doing that. I decided that day that from then on, it was important to me that I not use my body to progress my career. Those opportunities came around a lot then, and even in a post-Weinstein #MeToo era, they continue to come around today. I am not saying that my decision is the decision that should be made by everyone. What every individual does with their own body should be their own decision. We should have the right to do what we want with our body, and we create our own successes, our own goals, and fulfill things our own way. That was my decision then and continues to be my decision today. Honestly though, I so wish I'd been brave enough to go through with my plan. It'd be so cool to look back on today. But I do think everything happens for a reason. I would totally go for it and do it today. But I can't blame young Diane for not making that decision. She didn't have the life experience that I had, and maybe she was actually a nicer person for it. But anyway, that was the thing that happened, and I've never really talked about my Miss Universe experience until just now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about pageants, in particular Donald Trump's Miss Universe pageants? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I haven't able to respond to every comment individually, but I love seeing you guys engage with each other in a respectful way and have a conversation. So do that below. Talk to someone, share your views. And I'll see you later. As an aside, did you know Chewie did a pageant? Well, sort of. He was in a best dressed dog pageant, and you wore clothes from the charity shop and you dressed up as a hipster, didn't you? And he won first prize and he was in the newspapers. So now I'm a pageant mom. He can't stop kissing me. It's nice but gross too.